Hello everyone, today we're taking a look at another TTI radio. This time it's the TCB-881 CB transceiver. It's a multi-band EU compatible radio this time, so basically you can take this one anywhere in Europe and change the bands to suit. It's capable of both AM and FM transmission, but obviously in the UK mode you'll only get the FM for now until the new legal European standard is ratified, which could be some time away still. But for the time being we can use the EC mode. As you can see on the display there, it says EC in the top corner. What that gives us is the 40 UK 2781 channels and the 40 EU channels as well, sometimes known as the CEPT or mid-block frequencies. So that's what we're having a look at today. Basically you've got all 80 channels all the way through this radio, 40 EU and then 40 UK, and you can skip through them pretty quickly. If we just turn the channel control there, you can see how we suddenly flipped up into the UK band there, and if we go down one channel it goes straight to the EC band there on channel 40. There is a quick way of getting through all 80 channels with this radio. In the bottom corner here you've got the Q up and Q down, which actually skips 10 channels at a time, so that's kind of handy for getting around all 80 there. So in the case of the UK, very useful to skip through the channels very quickly. So basically this radio is very similar, I would say, in size and also features to the Midland Alan series of radios, like the 48 that's been around for some years, but this is TTI's take on a similar transceiver. Cool blue illumination. There's no options to actually change the illumination colour on this, so you've got to have the blue, although there are some options on the menu to change the backlighting from low and high as well, so you do have a number of different things you can set in the menus there on this one. As you'll see, the radio is microprocessor controlled. It does have traditional style controls as well though, so you get the best of both worlds, should I say. So you've got like your Squelch, RF gain, mic gain and the Q up and Q down controls, which are pretty traditional. It's none of this menu based volume or anything, which is kind of handy. And also the flip switch is over here in the corner. You've actually got a PA function, which isn't seen very often these days on some transceivers, for public address to connect up a loudspeaker. ANL, the noise blanker, mainly useful in AM mode. And of course the local and DX switch too, which seems to have been forgotten recently on a lot of transceivers, but it's good to see it back there again. It's basically an attenuator, so if you're suffering from bleed over, if you're using it as a home base, you can flip down to local if you're only talking to stations across town, so that's quite good. One thing that did confuse me about the radio when I first saw it was the fact that the channel change is up in the top left hand corner here. I expected that to be the volume and the on-off button, or the control knob there for the volume, but it's actually the other way around, so I keep reaching for that one and expecting to change the volume, and it's actually over here, the volume and the on and off there as well, so a little bit different to what I was expecting, but you get used to it eventually when you've made the mistake about 5,000 times like I have already today. But yeah, it's a well-built transceiver. It's all metal casing. The control knobs feel pretty positive. The channel change clicks as you turn it around. Another option you've got on the menu on this radio, when you power it down and hold down the lock key, is to actually turn off the button beep noise, because when you first get the radio and turn it on, there's a really loud beep every time you change channel or press any keys, so the first thing I did is disable that function, because I'm not really a big fan of the beeps, but it certainly works well. Been using this at home, and I've also had it in the car this morning, and I'm quite impressed with this radio. The audio quality is good. I've monitored the sound quality back home by connecting up some headphones onto a different radio and transmitting to a dummy load with this particular set on both AM and FM, and I've got to say the audio quality from this mic is pretty good, really. It's electret condenser microphone, and you've got the up and down control keys there, and also the lock function as well, so handy little microphone. It does feel quite well made. It's not too heavy in weight, but it does feel quite well built anyway, and certainly the microphone does seem to suit the radio. At the rear of the transceiver, you've got the usual antenna socket there. You've also got a socket for PA speaker and also external speaker connection. And also rather handy is the external S-meter socket, which seems to be becoming a standard on most of the TTI range of radios. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit there. It's a very small jack. I think it's 2.5mm. There you go. Camera's going a bit blurry as I focus in there. But 2.5mm jack, so you can plug in an external S-meter for those people who don't like the LCD type ones that you'll see on the display down here. Okay, moving on to some of the other functions on this radio. You've got 4 memory presets, which you can actually access up here in the top left corner next to the LCD display. M1, M2, M3 and M4. You can store any channels within the 80 channel range in our case. So if you wanted to store channel 19 as the breaking channel, you could just hold down one of those keys, like M1 for example, hold it down for 3 seconds and it automatically gets stored into the memory there. And you might also use 14 as a calling channel in your area, or you might want to store a regular net channel like 38 or something up in one of the memories. And you can store any frequency in the EU or the UK range, or whatever other band you've got selected there, so that's kind of handy. There's also a dual watch facility, and also an emergency channel, which is channel 9. So yeah, pretty comprehensive feature set on this transceiver. You've got just about every control you could wish for, and you've also got scanning, which is very good too. There are options on the menu of the radio to actually change the way the scan behaves as well. You can have it so it automatically stops every time it finds activity and doesn't resume until the carrier is dropped. In other words, the other stations stop transmitting. Or you can get it to skip on within 3 seconds. So if you've got a busy channel where people are talking all the time, it'll automatically skip after about 3 seconds and resume scanning. You can actually change the scan delay time on that as well, so you don't have to leave it set as 3 seconds, which is the default. You can actually set it to, I think it's up to 60 seconds on this particular radio. So like I say, you've got just about every function you could wish for. Also, down here on the Squelch, you've got something called DSS, which is the Dynamic Squelch System. It's a bit like President's ASC, so it can automatically monitor background noise on the channels, and basically it'll automatically adjust the Squelch for the optimum value. At the moment we've got it in manual mode, but if we actually turn down the Squelch, which is over here, switch to DSS, you'll notice now that it's all of a sudden silenced the radio, and it's there monitoring until a signal comes through. Now at the moment we've got a bit of propagation. Okay, we'll try and show you a little bit of the radio in action now. Now you've seen all the controls. A little bit of propagation coming through this morning. So we'll just have a flip around the EU band, see if there's any good signals coming in. And also have a look up on the UK FM, see if anybody's up there as well. Certainly sounds quite noisy with all the AM and FM stations mixing together there. Mostly East European, I think, coming in. Let's have a little look. Yeah, it's certainly all over the place today. Back into the UK now, see if anything's up here. Now on this radio it is actually very easy to change bands as well. although not with a camera in your hand. I'll have a go, but I'll just show you quickly how it works. All you do is turn the transceiver off, hold down the AM and FM and scan button and turn it back on again. And it's easier than it looks, apart from I've made it look difficult by having a camera in my hand. All you do then is just turn the channel change, as you can see, D for Germany, EU mode only, EC, E, F, PL for Poland, UK, that's just the 40 UK channels if you only want the 40. And then there's the UE, which is the UK and EU band. And then if you want to actually just change the band, you just let it go just for a few seconds and it'll automatically change. Or you can press the PTT button to confirm as well, and it's away then. So that's in Italy mode now, so that's like basically the 40 EU mode. But you also get the AM then as well, just the 40 mid-block channels. So as you can see on the display perhaps, when I press the AM and FM button there, you can see the status changing. So there you have it. That is the TTI TCB-881 CB transceiver. Pretty good radio actually. I would recommend it. It's quite nicely made. It's a reasonable price and it does have a lot of features really. So for a legal FM and AM radio, it's got just about everything you could wish for inside this one. Plenty of controls to play with. Just about every option you can need really. So if you're looking for a new radio for home base or mobile use, it's certainly be one on my shortlist. It seems to work quite nicely. I do like the audio quality on the radio as well, so you know, all things being equal, it's a good set. Anyway, thanks for watching the review. Until next time, catch you later.